When the peacock is first conjured into the imagination, immediately one feature of the bird's anatomy comes to mind: the tail. Peacocks are famous for their striking plumage, both because of its size and fan shape, and its rich, iridescent hues of green and blue. These resplendent feathers are not, however, found across the whole species. They're limited, rather, to the males. Male peafowl use their eye-catching tails to catch the eyes of peahens, which have a simple brown coloration. The health of each peacock is reflected in the magnificence of his plumage, demonstrating to females which potential peacock partner is the fittest, with the best potential genes. Both the tails and the mating displays performed by males involving them are products of sexual selection within the peafowl species. Many traits develop in species because of natural selection. Traits continue on through generations, becoming more and more frequent because the individuals with that trait survive to reproduce. With peacocks, however, their phenotype is not a direct product of this process. Rather, the peacock, and specifically its tail, is a product of sexual selection. According to the University of Berkeley, sexual selection acts on an organism's ability to obtain or successfully copulate with a mate. Assuming the individuals make it past the initial hurdle of natural selection, specifically that they are able to survive to the mating season, sexual selection accounts for which of the survivors are able to attract and keep a mate in order to reproduce. Part of why peacocks could evolve to be so ornate is from their tendency to breed early. Peahens see the most attractive peacocks as the healthiest ones, young and well-fed. Young peacocks being the ideal mates means they must survive a shorter amount of time before reproducing, so this species is especially shaped by feminine preferences rather than fowl aspiring to long lives. The fact that peacocks maintain the ability to fold their tail also aids in their continuing on without becoming such an easy meal. It's irrefutable that the tails of peacocks were born of mating advantage rather than survival. The question then becomes, what makes these tails attractive to peahens? A large reason as to why traits in general are considered attractive can be found in the biological process that shaped them. In human females, for example, a low waist-to-hip ratio suggests a high estrogen-testosterone ratio, which is an indicator of better reproductive function. By contrast, peacock tails are not linked with the fertility of their owners. Were a juvenile peacock to be castrated, his lack of testosterone would not impinge the growth of his tail. Instead of indicating hormone balances, peacock tails are indicators of health, fit genes, and the availability of resources. In a recent study, correlated data demonstrated that peacocks with a large number of tail eye spots and a high rate of mating behavioral displays had low levels of circulating heterophils. Heterophils are a form of white blood cell within avian biology, so the lower level indicated a less activated immune system, which suggests better health status. When the peacock systems were activated, the rate at which the peacocks performed mating displays decreased. Still, tail eye spots acted as an indicator of which peacocks were better able to handle the challenge to their immune system. The more tail eye spots an individual possessed, the better they were able to maintain their previous display rate. It's not as if peahens scour their stomping grounds, evaluating their more colorful counterparts for signs of health and a hearty genetic makeup. Peacock tails are unconscious signifiers of a functioning immune system and a high health status that are ingrained into them as a species. The mating displays and behaviors are the product of thousands of years of sexual selection. Sexual selection acts upon every species, gradually changing how genes are passed on through the generations. The tails of peacocks represent a particularly choice example of this force in the evolutionary realm.